Okay.
Oh. Hi, I'm Katie Snap.
And I'm Carol White.
We're with Skirt Strategies. It's time for your monthly video for women's leadership skills.
And our topic this month is trust. Katie,
How not to?
do you trust me?
I so trust you. And I'm lying like crazy right now. No, I trust you. And you know, there are aspects of trusting one another that come into play if you're wanting to figure out how can I be better in a trusting relationship? How can I have higher trust built in my working relationships? What do you look for?
What do you look for?
Some people think, oh, you just either trust them or you don't.
Well, and that is one of the 7, and there are 7 elements of trust. And
Let's share them.
I'm going to read them. Trust me.
Interrupting others.
It's
not
always
one
part
of them.
of it. Okay. Number 1, commonality. Number 2, history. 3, non-conflicting goals. 4, style and versatility. 5, voluntary openness. Okay. And 6, making and keeping agreements. And 7 is your gut. So
Let's go through all of them just real briefly so
okay.
people have an understanding. Those of you that are subscribed members, you pay $8 a month and you know this is just a piece of the bigger picture. You get an assignment each week. It'll be about trust this month. Each week, 1-page assignment and a short podcast. We'd love it if you're a free follower. We'd love it if you signed up for $8 a month to do that. But let's give everyone, free or otherwise, kind of a rundown of what those 7 are because I love them.
Okay, so number 1, commonality. How does commonality have to do with trust?
So that means looking like somebody else has a lot in common with you. And that can be visual, it can be education, it can be a lot of things. An example of that I find myself doing, and this is somewhat discriminatory, but when I'm out on the bike trail, I notice who I wave to and who I don't wave to. The people that look like me, you know, like, oh, you're just like me, you're out on the bike trail. Somebody that looks like it's a 17-year-old bearded man in a hoodie.
Yeah, okay.
And part of that might be safety too, but I'm like, why would I wave him or do anything to do with it? I actually find myself now waving at everybody because it's really fun when you wave at people that look
That
nothing
don't
like
expect
you.
it, yes.
You're like, oh, she's friendly.
She's so weird. Really friendly. Okay, and then history. How does that have to do with trust?
History, where you've been with someone historically.
Oh yeah, you have history with them, so you know to trust them.
Yeah, water under the bridge. Things have happened that you've worked out, or maybe things have happened you haven't worked out. You've had a chance to test one another's trust with one another.
Oh, sure. Okay, so the next one is non-conflicting goals.
In workplaces, sometimes you work with someone else that has a different objective than you. That has a conflicting objective than you.
Right, okay.
An example that I can think of, and this is in a corporate environment, the planning department has a different objective than the production department. Planning wants to save overhead, only have the amount of raw materials they need on the shelf. This is an engineer's example. And the production wants everything at the ready all the time so that they can go get it. They don't have to wait for parts.
Right.
So two different objectives, and sometimes that runs you up against conflict and lack of trust.
So if you have, if your goals conflict, then you're
more likely to mistrust one another.
Okay. Style and versatility.
The way that you influence others through
personality styles, kind of.
Yeah, I don't call them personalities because I tend to think of personalities as having values and other motivators in them.
Okay.
But just the way that you influence and motivate others can be an indication of kind of who you are and what you like to get, how you like to get things done. If I see that in someone else, I connect with it. It's a piece of commonality is really what it is.
Right.
It also means that if you do something in a style that's different than the way I would do it, for example, as an expressive, how might an analytical do something? Slow, methodically, based on data. And I might do it completely opposite, based on no data.
And they would probably mistrust
and they
the
would
fact
mistrust
that you
me
didn't
because they think I was like squirrely.
Right.
They think that all the time.
That's something people think
Oh, well.
Katie. Okay, so voluntary openness.
Have you ever shared anything with your folks, people you work with or work for you, that showed some vulnerability or transparency?
Yes. And I do that.
How did you do that?
You know, because I do think that it gains you trust. You know, you've told them something and then they feel more like they can trust
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly why you do it. And you wouldn't want to do it manipulatively, but if you consider those folks that have shared something with you, you're like, wow, that was really open for that person to say. It makes you believe, wow, they're transparent with me. There must not be lots that they're hiding.
Well, and they must trust me, so
There
maybe
you go.
that gives me a good reason
Yeah,
to trust them.
it's a great leadership technique.
Right. Making and keeping agreements.
At the core of building a long-term relationship that leads to trust, because you can't just get there, is the first actionable skill in communication, really. It's communicate. And it's a discipline. Make and keep agreements. The more you make and keep agreements, the more you'll have a trust-building relationship with someone else.
Sure. And that is really basic. I mean, it's just
Super basic.
It's as basic as being on time, saying you're going to be there and being on time. That starts the trust build relationship.
It does, but you know what else with it? It seems so simple. It's one of those simple but not easy things.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a huge amount of self-discipline, self-awareness, knowing that I said this thing and I meant this other thing. I should have clarified it later. Oh, that's okay. And then they take it the wrong way, and next thing you know, you've got missed expectations. And then just through the course of not communicating well, someone thought you were doing one thing and they saw you do another. That leads to mistrust.
Right. Okay, and then number 7 is gut.
Is the gut instinct. Nothing, ladies, can surpass that intuition feeling of it just doesn't
Should I
seem
trust
like,
this person?
Yeah. Something's just not right about him, or I'm not sure that what she says she really means. So we pick up sometimes on verbals and nonverbals.
Yes.
And we can't put our hands on them.
Right. But we have to, there is a point where you really should trust those things. Maybe that guy is selling snake oil. It feels like it. So trust your gut.
I recommend you look at, when you have that gut feeling, look at the other 7 items and identify, is it something about their style? Is it something about where we've been together historically? Is it something about, commonality or lack of commonality? Maybe you're not giving the person a fair shake.
True.
Because you're calling judgments in your own head. So you can use the 6, if you get that 7th feeling of intuition that ain't such a good feeling in the gut.
All right. So that's the 7 elements of trust, and we appreciate you being here with us.
We always do.
We do.
Oh, Skirt Strategies, follow us monthly. Make sure that you're on our email list. We'd love to have you follow us.
Catch our podcast on skirtstrategiespodcast.com.
And iTunes, for those of you that are iTunes fans. And until next month, we'll see you again, and you'll be trusting the world so much better.
Oh, absolutely.
Have a good one.